So we're gonna chat for just a minute about the best use case for a veiled chaos orb. If you do a lot of crafting already, you're probably gonna know what my favorite use is already. But if you don't do a lot of crafting, then this might be news to you. Because we're gonna talk about veiled chaos orb plus meta crafting. So meta crafting is using things like prefixes can't be changed, suffixes can't be changed. So remember, prefixes can't be changed is a suffix, and suffixes can't be changed is a prefix. So if we have like 3 good prefixes or 3 good suffixes, we can use a veiled chaos to get some pretty spicy outcomes from this. Instead of jumping over to Craft of Exile, I want to show you what this looks like first, okay? So just imagine if we're going to use an Awaken Orb. An Awaken Orb takes 2 influence modifiers and smacks them together on the same chest piece, right? On the same thing, on the same, whatever item you are crafting. So let's say that we have 2 suffixes that we care about. Let's say that we want like spell crit as a suffix. And maybe we also want frenzy on hit as a suffix as well. So we're going to have 3 prefixes, 3 suffixes. That's how our items work in PoE. And we already know what 2 of them are going to be here, right? So if we were able to Awaken Orb those 2 things together, we might get something that has 3 prefixes and 3 suffixes. But let's imagine, just for the sake of this explanation, let's imagine that we get maybe 2 prefixes and 2 suffixes, all right? Something like this. So we know what this is going to be here. This is going to be our spell crit. And we know this is going to be our chance to get a frenzy charge on hit. So because we have 2 of the same down here that we want to keep, we can craft a prefix, something like suffixes can't change. Like this. And then if we used a scour, for example, what would happen is it takes out all of our prefixes and it leaves our suffixes there, right? But not only a scour, we can also use a chaos orb, right? So if we wanted to chaos this item, what would happen is, well, maybe it adds +1 suffix here. But more importantly, the other 2 suffixes stay and the 3 prefixes remain, right? So we can use a veiled chaos orb to add a prefix here. Now, I'm going to use a different color because I need to point this out real quick. If we did it like this, we currently have 1 open suffix here, right? So meta crafting often has some expensive components to it that cost a lot of exalts, right? So instead of only crafting suffixes can't change, because currently, if we use a veiled chaos on this item, what might happen is we might get a veiled suffix. Because we only have 2 suffixes right now, and we have 2 prefixes, remember? So in order to stop that from happening, we actually need to fill up our suffixes first before we can guarantee our prefix. So that's why you might see an item that looks like this, right? You might see an item that looks like can have multiple crafted mods, which is like 2 exalts. Suffixes can't be changed for another few exalts. So suffixes can't change, and then multiple crafted mods, right? So this is kind of expensive, but in this particular, you would have, the outcome of this would be 1 item that has the guaranteed 2 suffixes. We would still have multiple crafted mods, and then we would have at least 1 prefix, which is a veiled prefix. It's kind of a lot to take in. Let's see if we can find a good example in Craft of Exile. Craft a new item, body armor, and can we double influence it right now? We're gonna go Crusader Elder, because those are the first 2. And let's find some suffixes here. How about maybe a nice Elder suffix of attack crit, like this. Tier 1 attack crit, shows up over here. And then maybe a Crusader suffix as well. Maybe we're doing some kind of like int stacking build. Let's put this thing on there, right? I said that I wanted to pretend that we had 2 prefixes as well. This prefix here and this prefix here. So let's put in some prefixes. Let's click on the prefix tab. We'll put in some like tier 1 billion mana. Pretty good, 15. And then let's put in, how about some like baby defense modifiers as well. If we have this chest piece here, we have 2 prefixes, right? 2 prefixes and 2 suffixes. We just Awakener orbed this together. So we took our Elder chest piece and we took our Crusader chest piece, we put them together, and we have like this garbage thing here. And we know that as a possible prefix, we would like to have something like maybe the unveiled version of chance to avoid ailments. Because chance to avoid ailments is like, if you craft it on an item, it's like 30, but if you unveil it, it's like 44 or something. Like, it's very, very big as an unveiled modifier. There's also some other unveiled modifiers, maybe things like gain life as extra maximum energy shield. But it's important to note that when you're unveiling with an Ashling Slam, or if you're unveiling from a Veiled Chaos, you cannot unveil a signature modifier. So things like percent increased damage on a ring, things like gain life as extra maximum energy shield, all of those things are signature modifiers from one particular person in Betrayal, in the Immortal Syndicate. If something's a signature modifier from someone in the Syndicate, you cannot unveil it like that. If you want to check whether something is a signature modifier, you can do something like go to PoEDB Mods, which is a website that I reference all the time, and I always link to people here in chat about how to check things. Crafting, here we go. And then how about extra maximum, like this. So if I type in extra maximum, you see this. It has Jun's name next to it. Gain life as extra maximum energy shield. If you search this website and you see somebody's name show up right here, like Gravicius or Hillick or It That Fled, that's a signature modifier. You can't unveil that. Going back to this. So what we're going to do is we want to use a Veiled Chaos on this, but we want to keep the two suffixes, right? So we could go to our bench and type in crafted. Let's scroll down here real quick. Crafted suffixes. Where's multimod? I guess let's look at a prefix of suffixes can't be changed, right? How's this thing work? Like scroll down plus. If we use a Veiled Chaos on this and we have suffixes can't be changed, our Veiled Chaos might add a suffix. But you and I, we want to create something that has like chance to avoid ailments, like we talked about. So we want to guarantee that it's a prefix, right? So if I go like this, it might, I can use it like this. It might add a suffix, which would be bad for us. So let's gamble. We lost. That kind of sucks. Can we go back? Good. All right. I'm actually glad we lost. That's good. So we need to, let's go remove this thing real quick. Let's go to suffixes and we'll go multiple crafted modifiers like this. And we want to add this in so that there's a suffix. That's important for us. Let's go to our prefixes and then we'll type in suffixes can't be changed. So we spent a couple exalts on this. And for this, now when we use the Veiled Chaos on it, we're going to keep our two suffixes and we're going to re-roll the prefixes. So my desired outcome would be like, maybe one or two prefixes. Maybe like one normal prefix and then like one veiled prefix. And then I'll probably just craft percent life, percent mana, or maybe I'll craft 80 life on it, and that'll probably be good enough. So let's see what happens here. We'll use our Veiled Chaos, and we have exactly 3 suffixes because the Chaos didn't remove our suffixes because we had suffixes can't be changed. And now we have our Veiled Chaos here. Can we unveil? Can I do that? Click the unveil. There's an icon below the... Oh, unveil. Ooh, you can unveil it. Sick. How about this? Hey, we got it. So we have chance to avoid elemental ailments, chance to avoid being stunned. So now that we slap this on, now we have 1 prefix and 2 suffixes, and we actually already have multimod. So what we can do is just craft 80 life and 8% life. Is the life mana mod, right? So let's go ahead and do that right now. And then let's craft on percent increased life, percent increased mana, like this. And all of a sudden, we have an excellent chess piece, right? Remember, we awaken our orb together, crit and intelligence. We used meta crafting to wipe the prefixes and use a Veiled Chaos on it. The Veiled Chaos got us our 1 prefix of chance to avoid elemental ailments and chance to avoid being stunned. And then because we already had multimod on it, we have life, we have mana. So that's pretty good. There's other things that we can use this with as well. Let's close this window real quick. So the other thing that you might consider doing is what about instead of trying to preserve a Awakener orb or preserve some kind of influence modifier, what about trying to use a Veiled Chaos in order to preserve a drop-only modifier? Drop-only modifiers are some of the most interesting items in PoE because you can't just craft them. You need to like drop the item with its garbage modifiers and that one that you want, and then kind of craft around that. So I find that these items are really interesting to work with. So you have things like temple modifiers, maybe things from incursion that say like maybe ES and regenerate ES per second, or maybe like life percent life, hybrid modifiers on a chest piece or a belt or a ring, or maybe a glove modifier that says like cold res and then 50% increased damage with hits against chilled enemies. Those kind of drop only modifiers are pretty spicy. So taking any of those and then doing the same kind of stuff we did previously and preserving those and then re-rolling the prefixes, you know, the ones that are garbage, or re-rolling the suffixes is a pretty good use of this. So combining a Veiled Chaos with prefixes cannot change, or with suffixes cannot be changed, is my personal favorite use of the Veiled Chaos. So chat, what do you think? What is your favorite use of a Veiled Chaos? So far, the best use for my Veiled Chaos has been to rot in my stash. I will call out one more thing. So as a primarily SSF player, one of the things that I've tried to unveil the most has been on rings and on amulets. Because for my SSF characters, I like trying to unveil the plus frenzy, the plus endurance, or the plus power charge. Because when you unveil these, you also gain I think it's a 4%, pretty small. You gain a 4% chance to gain a frenzy, endurance, or power charge on kill, which is pretty sick. If you don't already have a way of generating those things in your build, yeah, they're pretty good. So maybe in SSF, if you don't have a bunch of exalts, if you can't do these things, you could just use a Veiled Chaos on like a Vermilion ring and hope to unveil something good. I don't think that's the best use of it, but maybe you have a Vermilion ring with fractured tier 1 life on it. If you have a fractured modifier, well, no matter how many chaos you use on it, the fractured modifier is still going to remain. So all of a sudden that's pretty good, right? Fractured modifier, tier 1 life, or maybe a good chaos res roll, and you use a Veiled Chaos on top of that. Maybe you gain chance to gain a frenzy charge on kill, +1 minimum frenzy charge. That's pretty good. I think all in all, my favorite use of it is still combining it with Metacrafts for prefixes can't be changed or suffixes can't be changed. Things like fractured modifiers that remain after you use the Veiled Chaos is pretty sick as well.